Hi everybody, hope you're well. Those of you who are regular viewers of my channel will know that I often talk about kind of liberation subjects, so LGBT, sometimes feminism, sometimes that kind of thing. However, I'm not LGBT, I'm not a woman, I am not black, I'm not disabled, but I am a supporter of liberating those people, which makes me an ally. But it is far too easy to be a bad ally, to be somebody who says that they support these people but doesn't have the words or deeds to back it up. So perhaps you want to be a good ally. Well, luckily I've got a few things which will help you out on that. So this is how to be a good ally. So to start off, you kind of need to recognise your privilege. So like the opposite of what I've just said, I'm white and straight and male and able-bodied, and you get the idea, yeah? There are many things which I take for granted because of my situation and where I come from. That doesn't mean I haven't had struggles in my life, doesn't mean that you haven't had struggles in your life. But what it does mean is there are plenty of things I haven't even had to think about. I've never been worried about being, I don't know, thrown off a plane, a bus, or not being let into a bar, a club, based on my race, gender, or sexual orientation. Now, it's true I can't join the Girl Guides or the Women's Institute, or maybe I can actually. Maybe you can join the Women's Institute if you're a man. I think you can. You have to be married to somebody, don't you, or something like that. But not so long ago, you couldn't be a member of the Marylebone Cricket Club if you weren't a man. And I think you still can't be a member of certain golf clubs unless you are a man, which is ridiculous, really. All these things get me a free pass in life. I don't have to worry based on my immutable characteristics. When you recognise this privilege, you can have empathy for people who don't have that privilege. You recognise that because of your situation, you're not going to have a problem, but somebody else will. And is that fair? Of course it isn't fair. So you can empathise with that person who has got those barriers in life. And the next thing you can do is research. Now, there's lots of ways you can research. You can read articles on the internet. You can watch YouTube videos. You're doing that now. Or you can read some books. This book, for example, I think I mentioned it in a favourites video before, but it's called Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race. And it's basically about British black history and how race and class are inextricably linked in the UK. I absolutely recommend that you go and pick it up, because if you make an effort to research how other people have been oppressed and need liberation, then you will again have the empathy but also have the knowledge to arm yourself. Now, with that knowledge, you need to speak to people about it, I would say, yeah? Well, I would focus on people with who share the same characteristics to you. So I'm a man, so I might talk to other men about feminism and women's rights. I'm straight, so I will talk to other straight people about LGBTQ plus rights, and that's what I try to do on my YouTube channel. Obviously, anybody can watch it, but I'm trying to communicate to people like me. Perhaps because if it's the first time they're hearing it, they'll listen to me rather than listen to the groups involved, which is unfortunate but is the case a lot of the time. Of course, if you've got shared identity, then you should speak to those people, but don't speak for other people. Listen to the people in these oppressed groups, and their shared experience is much more worthy than all of your research. And recognise that you can get things wrong. You can misinterpret, or you've got a bad source of what it's like to be in these oppressed groups. Then you can't just say that is the gospel truth because I read it somewhere. You know, somebody with lived experience trumps your knowledge on the situation. So listen to those people because it enriches your knowledge. Different lived experiences mean different things as well. There's not one way of being oppressed. So you should use your privilege to amplify those voices, to point people in those directions. I do this in YouTube videos. I point you to other people who have made videos in these groups. I say, go and watch this video, go and read that book. And that's exactly the kind of thing you can do as well. You can point people towards resources which they can look at, and you can amplify those voices. But by far the thing which is most useful for these groups is to support them in any way that you can. So very recently the government was asking about reforms to the Gender Recognition Act. So for trans people that's really important, that they have the ability to change their legal gender. And it was also talking about non-binary people and their gender identity, and that's really important as well. Now, deadline's passed now, sorry about that, but that's the kind of thing. I actually filled that in the other day. I did my research and filled it in with my responses, and I did that in support of trans people. I hope this video was useful. Why not leave some comments down below about how you think you can be a good ally. I hope you liked the video. If you did, then give it a thumbs up. You can do that just down below, and I make videos every single week, so that's a really good reason to subscribe, and I shall see you next time. Bye bye.